Hey everyone, and welcome to Already Cancelled. I'm Peter, that's Connor. We are going to talk about The Leftovers Season 1, Episode 2. It's called Penguin 1, a Zero. Full spoilers for the episode, as always. So, we're still in the early days, still getting a sort of grasp of what the show is about. Bagels, penguins, and occasionally other things. Hand cream.
Yep, that sounds about right.
That's what this episode sort of gets on. And I think similar to last episode, we can kind of stick with each family member.
Yeah, for now that seems to be the running
Yeah.
trend.
Yeah, so I guess we'll take Heaven first. Who because we kind of open with him having this dream that Amy's been all because we made a joke last episode about her clearly wanting to be with him, and I don't know if
I
he.
think I think he's just picking up on those signals.
That's what I'm thinking. I don't think it's necessarily so much that he had a thing for his daughter's friend before. I think it's just he's picking up on the signals, and it's like sort of worming their way into his dream.
Yeah.
Well, if he does something about it, that's a completely different factor. But I'm not going to blame him for the thought jumping into his head.
Yeah, it's a dream. He's just
Yeah,
subconsciously he's noticed
yeah,
what's going on and his dreams are just going, "Hey, you need to pay attention to this."
Well, interestingly, she leads him out of bed in the dream, and out to the bald guy we've been seeing with the rifle, and he's like out there. He's going to shoot a person instead of a dog in the dream, and then he turns around and says, "Watch your feet," and then his feet are on fire. Which is when he wakes up, and that's when the fire. We can directly see maybe why his mind went to fire. He probably smelled the smoke coming from the real fire outside. Because dreams are funny like that; they can kind of do that. What do you
They
think the
do.
rest of the dream is saying, though, specifically?
I mean, I think it's the idea we spoke how last episode the dogs were kind of like human society. There was the
Mm.
talk of how we're going to go feral as well, and it was that their dogs are just ahead of us. And I think this is his dream going, hey, if they need to be put down and we get like that, well, we need to put our society down.
Yeah, yeah. With the shooter shooting the
Yeah, yeah.
human, I can see why you're saying that. Yeah, I was thinking more of the Amy stuff and the idea of her leading to him to the shooter. It was kind of like she was going to lead him. Like if he did do anything about this flirtation that she has with him, it
Mm.
would be the sort of the start of like the break to like going feral, if you will. It's like getting more animalistic and caring, and forgetting and not giving a shit about what
Yeah,
society
just breaking the
says.
rules, so
Yeah,
to
just
speak.
breaking the
Yeah.
rules, and then if he does that, that leads to them one day having to shoot other people
Okay,
and not
yeah,
just
that works.
dogs. That's kind of what I was taking from it, but and Shed's actually staying at the house because when he gets up and he goes because it's basically his neighbours like burning his brother's clothes because he doesn't want to see them anymore. Obviously, it's implied he was a. Do we have a name for them? Yeah, there's like just a sort of general term for the
Uh,
departed, the departed,
that'll do, I guess.
the leavers.
They're really cagey because obviously I don't think they have a name specifically because obviously they talk about it was Heroes Day,
Yeah,
but
that's true.
everyone's like,
Yeah,
really, heroes? It doesn't seem like there is a set term.
the missing, the departed probably sounds good. Although you kind of think of the movie when you say the departed.
Yeah, yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah, but obviously his brother's one of the people who left. Uh, how about a 14th? Because they all left on October 14th. The 14th.
That's a real mouthful, though.
As a, what's that bald guy who's the shooter? He's always got a mouthful. He's always chewing. He never just speaks normally. He has to have his mouth full. It's unpleasant. Uh, but he goes out into the fire and there's some crack and he steps on like the fake teeth, the false teeth in the snow
Yeah.
as he's climbing. Which, by the way, he never puts on shoes when he goes outside to deal with the fire, and he's like walking out in the snow. And all I could think was, "Oh man, how cold are your feet right now?"
Yeah, it was a strange choice.
That was a strange choice. And and then the girls, Jill and Amy are on the porch, being like, "What the hell?" He's like,
I
"Do you
mean,
want some toast?"
in my mind, the reason he went out without the shoes was because, in the last thing in his dreams were his feet were on fire. So he's just actively trying to cool them down. Maybe in his mind they're still hot, or he's scared of it. So he's like, nope,
Uh,
nope, just keeping them cool.
I think that may be reading too much into it. I think it's just a
Probably.
case of there's a fire, I need to do something quick. So it wasn't. It just it was.
Yeah,
I'm acting without thinking about the
yeah,
fact
yeah.
that my feet are freezing. Um, I would have almost appreciated when he went back in the house just a little sort of shit and just sort of like started to shake his feet as if it was sort of
Yeah,
going sort of numb with the cold kind of thing. Not that it's a big deal. I'm kind of making a mountain out of a molehill here. I admit, but
you really are, yeah.
it's just bare feet in the snow just feels like Ugh.
I agree.
Uh, Makes you shiver. But basically, we find out it was 2 weeks have passed since the first episode. There was a time jump, which is kind of weird for a TV show. Typically, uh, I mean, you obviously get time jumps between seasons, and sometimes a show make a big point of doing a time jump at some point later on. But I'm not used to episode 2 of a show being weeks after episode 1.
Yeah, especially not on cable. I feel like when it's a network show, I expect it to have progressed a week by default.
Yeah, just because you think they're kind of keeping the actual calendar sort of in show.
Yeah, they tend to roughly do that.
I mean, obviously there's exceptions in some shows, like 24 being the absolute opposite.
Right, but that's very
Yeah.
clear as to when it is. But just
Yeah.
as a general rule, they typically take place over, September to May, whatever it is.
Yeah, but obviously a lot of shorter shows will typically be like, yeah, it might take like 3 months to watch, but the actual whole show takes place over like 2 weeks of real time, like in the show. Everything's
Yeah.
very. Lost is a good example actually. Even though that was a network show, there was a moment in early season 4, because the show started in September 2004. And there was a moment in early season 4, which obviously was 3 years later, where they realised it was Christmas 2004. The characters. And there was the idea that each season was only really about a month in the show's timeline.
I mean, it's even like Breaking Bad's technically, like the whole thing is about 2 years.
Yeah, that's true.
So just
Yeah.
it is. You're right. You typically see it more condensed rather than jumping ahead that much.
Yeah. And I use Lost because that was a network example, but yeah, with Breaking Bad and other cable shows, it tends to be more condensed rather than jumps.
Yeah.
Outside of some obvious big ones, maybe they'll do like one at the end of the season where it'll almost be a shock when it comes up at the screen saying a year later. It's like, oh shit, we've jumped a year.
Yeah.
But so it's 2 weeks later, and we're seeing he's getting therapy because of the whole incident with the dogs, and everyone else never saw the shooter, the other guy, the guy that he was seeing, and obviously quite clearly in the episode, it's planting in your head. Is this other guy actually real? Is this just a figment of his imagination? Especially when he goes to see his dad later on, in the sort of the hospital, the home.
Yeah.
Because his dad's got mental health issues. Well, at least that's what it's perceived to be. Obviously, this being a show where it's about, when he starts talking to imaginary people, I'm starting to think, is there really imaginary people? Is there real entities talking to him that are giving him guidance?
I mean, that's fair. Yeah. Like even his dad says, I disagree with all their professional opinions, and I maintain I'm still normal.
Yeah.
But it's society has deemed him as mentally unstable.
Well, because you could read it a couple of different ways. You could read it as he's not unstable, and there's actually entities just clearly talking to him, but he's not hiding it, and therefore he looks unstable. Or he is actually unstable, but the unstableness gives him like a door to these entities, so that some of the information he's given is still relevant or still useful.
Or he's just unstable.
Or he's just unstable. But the information in this seemed really accurate.
It did. It was a strange scene actually, because a lot of that is he talks about how he insists he's normal, and the whole conversation he seems perfectly normal. Like it doesn't seem like there is anything unusual until he gets to that.
And he seemed like he was dating the mayor, at least before he went in, because the way the mayor...
that's what I got.
Yeah, so the way she kisses him, it wasn't like a friend, not that they would be brother and sister, but like if it was like a close friend, you kissed them like a brother or sister. It wasn't that kind of kiss, it was a proper on the mouth sort of loving kiss.
There's really only one bit of evidence in this episode to point to him being real, I think. And that's the bit where he's at the door talking to Kevin, and Jill comes in.
Oh, you mean the shooter? I thought we were talking about his dad.
No.
No, I don't even think it's a bit of evidence. I think that's... I think the episode is setting you up to think in your head, oh, he's not real, it's all in his head. Because the whole episode, because the other cops, like, oh, I'll just say I found the truck, a few blocks down when it's at his house. He's trying to cover up. The mayor's trying to cover up for him, and he says, no, he's real. I saw him, guys. And I think the episode's setting you up to think that. I think it's a subversion. I think it's pointing the viewer in that direction. I think that moment where the daughter like acknowledges him and then like asks who that was, I think that's confirmation that he's a real person.
I agree, but I think that happens before the conversation with his dad, so he's still questioning things after this.
Well, it proves that he's real, but I think the conversation after that isn't about whether or not he's real. I think it's when the dad says, oh, they're sending someone to help you. It then points to like the purpose of why he's here and that kind of thing, and then it means something. But I think the daughter acknowledged him to me, said, "No, he is real," and I think that was like a ha, kind of got you because we were setting you up all
Yeah,
episode to
because for
think that he
most of
wasn't.
that scene, it still played like he could have not been there. Because she just walks in, she takes the whatever it was, and and she never addresses him then, and he says to her, oh, don't drink that. Like
Yeah,
Kevin says that to Jill, but there was actually no acknowledgement other than her taking it from his hand.
yeah. I
But
think
it's not until he leaves that she says, "Oh,
yeah.
who was that?"
Yeah, I think Amy looks at him though on the way in. I'm pretty sure one of them looks at him. I mean, you could read that as she's just looking at something else outside, but she sort of turns her head and
Well, yeah,
looks at him. But yeah, it's when she says, "Who was that?" It's beyond a shadow of a doubt. There was someone standing there that she was aware of. So
yeah.
I don't think he's in his head per se. But I think Epstein does a good job of subverting that because even after that he's still convinced, he's still worried that he's going crazy, and we realise that the reason why he thinks he's going crazy is because his dad went crazy. Because even
Yeah.
he asked him in the scene, when did this start? When were the first signs of you losing your shit?
Yeah.
And he's like, no, and that's when he says, if you ask me, I've not lost my shit yet. I'm still a-okay.
I do think it is like though, because obviously it's very clear that the reason they think his dad has gone crazy is because he's seeing people, or at least hearing voices, if not seeing people.
Absolutely, yeah.
So now that this idea has been planted in his mind, presumably because all these other people know what happened to his dad, again, they all know it was seeing people. They're all going, "Hey, you sure you're not seeing this guy?" And that's what's putting it in his head, and that's why he's worried still.
I like some of those scenes. See the scene with the other cop where he's like, oh, I'll say that I found the truck, a block away or whatever.
Yeah.
I like that scene for two reasons. I like that it shows you that he has even though even though Kevin's constantly kind of like swearing at him and like bossing him around, there is like a camaraderie there where he does care. Like he does care about Kevin. He's like, no, I'll say I found it elsewhere. But I also equally like Kevin kind of being offended almost, where he's like, why would you say that? It's not my truck.
It's clearly someone left it here.
Yeah. And there is a truck. I mean, I suppose obviously if we went down the path that he was made up, then eventually we would expect to get like some backstory where maybe he's blacking out and it is his truck and he doesn't know about it when he's this far. Like, you'd go down to all these crazy avenues.
The only way it would work is if he was the other guy
as well.
Like he was doing those actions and getting this truck.
But he's not aware of the fact that he's got two personalities.
Yeah.
But again, I certainly think the stuff with the daughter that proves that.
It does, at least for now. Unless they start,
yeah.
if next episode they start throwing me more, questioning evidence.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back and question that scene.
Yeah. No, I mean they could, I suppose, worm their way out of it in some way. They'd have to probably. I think if they did reveal that he was still a figment of his imagination of some kind and that other people couldn't see him, I think they would have to do a flashback to that moment and show. Because sometimes in movies and shows they'll do a cutback to show, oh, this is what actually was happening, and that's why Jill said that.
Yeah, they'd have to, because that's the only moment so far that goes no. Because you're looking out for it, aren't you? You're looking out for evidence.
Because they've set it up at this point. Yeah.
Right. So that's the moment where it goes, no, he is real, or at least he is addressed. If not directly, they addressed that someone was there.
Yeah, she knew that someone was there. Now, I mean, if you want to give me some other crazy things later, like they see different people, like Kevin sees someone where everyone else sees someone else or something silly like that, then sure, fine.
Yeah.
But
like I was even there's not enough time, so I was even questioning it as, oh, did she just think there was someone at the door? Like, he'd answered the door and she comes down, he's shutting it, but that can't be because she already walked past him.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work. It doesn't quite work.
I mean, I'll actually go back and watch the scene again, just pay even closer attention.
I'm just thinking, the only way I can see it is, right, let's assume he wasn't there, just for argument's sake.
Okay.
They walk in, they think he's just opened the door for them. Because they're coming home.
That's a long time to have the door open for them coming up.
It is.
Because he was standing there talking to him for a little while. Here's my problem though, her phrasing. If he wasn't there, she wouldn't say who was that. She would say who was it. That implies she's seen the person she's talking about.
I don't agree with that, because I've said that before. Like when there's been someone at the door and I've not, seen. I've heard the door go. Someone else gone and answered it. I've gone, oh, who was that? I've said that before.
Okay, sure. I still don't.
I agree. It's a stretch.
yeah, the way she says it, it implies
Yeah,
she just saw the person she's
it
talking
is.
about.
But that's, I mean, that's literally the only way out I can think of. But it doesn't really work. You'd have to.
Because the question sounds like, I don't know who that person is. Who is that?
Yeah,
That's what
yeah.
it
No,
sounds like.
I agree. I agree. That's the problem. It's they've done such a good job in this moment of going, no, that was someone there.
Which,
That if they tell me now that there wasn't, I'm going to be really
well,
confused about this moment.
that's why I don't even think it's a question. I think we've spent 5 minutes talking about this, and I don't think there's a point. I think the point of that scene is that the episode so far, up until that point, was putting it in your head. Oh, maybe he's not real. Maybe
Yeah.
he's just a figment of his imagination. I think that scene's the twist. That scene's the no. We were tricking you. He's real.
I hope so. It's just like I said, there's the moment after that where he still goes to his dad. He's still concerned about if he is going crazy or not. And obviously, maybe
Well,
it's revealed to us, but
it,
he's not
hang
acknowledged
on.
that.
It's not just about him though. It's about the bagel.
No, that's true.
Because the bagel disappeared, and I think obviously it's not the same thing as talking to people, but I think he thinks he's going nuts about the bagel because he's at work, he's talking to the mayor, and he puts a bagel in their toaster, fancy toaster as well with a, it's not just your traditional pop down toaster. It's a really fancy
Yeah.
little oven thing. But if it's the bagel in the toaster and you can't find it afterwards, and he's going nuts and try to like bang it out, and other cops walk past and look at him as if he's going a bit nuts. And I think that's also part. He thinks
Yeah.
people are looking at him there as if like, what are you doing? And maybe because they know about his father, they're
It's the same looks that he gave to his dad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And he's banging it out, and it's after he goes to see his dad that he goes back to the precinct. When he's off duties and he's civvies, and he goes in with a drill and he opens up the toaster. And this is the sort of the montage that they have, and the piano's playing, as everything's sort of wrapping up. And sure enough, he puts his hand in and he finds like two burned halves of the bagel. And to me, that was like the end of him saying, "Nah, you're not actually going crazy." like,
Yeah. No, I agree.
The person is real. The bagels were there. They fell into the back of the thing, and that's all.
Yeah.
Um,
Just crazy coincidences.
yeah. So stop jumping to conclusions, I guess, is the thing. Trust that you're not going crazy before you start.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So no. So I appreciate the bagel. Conclusion. Admittedly, like I guess that you have to believe that he's so frustrated about these bagels, and that if that's the start of him going crazy, that he goes back to the precinct to check. Like he has to
think
know.
He's only that because his dad went crazy. Like
Yeah, I think that's fair.
everyone questions something. Sometimes you go, did I do that? And then you're like, oh, I must be going crazy.
Yeah, I think the most common ones, like forgetting where you parked your car. Like you think it was, you're convinced it was in that spot, but it was actually
Right. Yeah, exactly. But for him, it's like, no, because if he's going, maybe this could be hereditary. Maybe I could actually be going crazy. There could be something that has been passed down.
Yeah. I mean, hell, every time, just before I record with you, every time I think to myself, oh, I couldn't have been talking to some ginger idiot. Like, I wouldn't do that with my life. And then you pop up in Skype and I go, oh, shit.
Yeah,
it's
you're
real.
just like, I'm wasting my life.
It's real. God damn it. He's real. Oh, dear.
Sorry to disappoint.
So, because sometimes I just think, oh, what is this product placement? Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry, this is the first mug I got out of the cupboard.
It's just right in front of the camera. Have a Kit Kat.
The problem is the logo is on both sides, so there's no hiding it. It's not like I can pick a side and avoid it. It's all the way around.
Jesus Christ.
Hey, Kit Kat, if you want to throw me some,
Yeah.
I'm happy for it.
We'll take sponsorship. That's fine. What was I saying? I've lost my track of thought.
You were saying you were wasting your life.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. I was just going to add more onto that joke, but it's fine. We can move on. So that was Kevin's plot. That was Kevin's plot for the episode. No, actually, one of the other scenes with him, which kind of bleeds into the Laurie plot, because he visits a GR at one point in this episode, and apparently this is a regular thing they do because so many of the people who go there are reported missing, so they go and sort of catalogue who's there, and that kind of thing, check if the missing people are there. And in the case of what we see here, they see Liv Tyler's character Meg, and they know she's new. Because they don't recognise her, so they make a point of asking her if they can take a picture and just sort of getting her name. Just in case she's already been reported missing or someone will report her missing, kind of thing. And obviously it bleeds into that storyline because she takes the card and Patty notices she takes the card. She doesn't just immediately discard it, and she knows that she's on the fence. As Kevin even says in the other scene that she's on the fence. She might swing back the way.
Yeah.
And the big scene from Kevin's side of that is that the fiancé actually comes round to the station, and he talks to him, and he's like, oh, she's with the GR, she's there, but she's in like the sort of, what did he call it? The, not probation, the orientation
Yes.
house. She's still speaking. She's not wearing white yet. She could still be convinced, and I like that scene a lot. Actually, I liked his kind of. Because the fiancé just kind of gets angry. So why would I even try and convince her to come back? I've been putting off this wedding for 3 years to make her happy, and she leaves in the middle of the night without telling me to join them. And like, you expect me to go over there and beg for her to come home? No, I don't care. I'm done. And it's funny because I see both sides of this. I kind of respect the idea that he's pissed about her not even saying, look, I'm going to go here, right? Go, just leave it and not even saying is kind of a dick move,
isn't it?
That's a dick move. But the rest of it, the way his anger is and the way he reacts, it does make me go, maybe he's part of the reason why she's unhappy. He seems like just
Probably.
the way he is, like the way he is, and the idea that he keeps doing things to make her happy without really understanding that she's unhappy, and the fact that if someone does really care about you, they would go and fight. And they would go, please come home, please do this, and they would fight for you. And that's not to say that you should intentionally test that on a regular basis, but clearly she's at this juncture in her life, and the fact that he won't go and fight for her maybe says...
Probably just convinces her which way she should go.
Yeah, that's part of the problem. That's part of why she probably feels the way this is. She maybe knows that deep down you wouldn't go fight for her, and that sort of what leads to that decision. And I like that scene as well, just from Kevin's perspective, because Kevin's hearing all this, but he's in the same boat. His wife went. He knows how this feels. It's not like he's sitting there not being able to sympathise. And he's actually convinced her, you can still convince her to come home. He's making that recommendation.
He's basically going, hey, I tried. Don't miss your chance to try.
Yeah, or maybe he didn't. Maybe he didn't at the time. We've seen him do it now that she's fully into the GR and she's wearing the white and all that. But did he try?
Maybe at the time he was too angry and didn't.
Yeah, maybe that's the point of this scene, is that it's showing us the way Kevin was at first until he realised what not having her around meant.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nah. In which case, people are flawed and they all sort of learn from mistakes and all the rest of it. So Laurie's plot is very much also Meg's plot. They're intertwined because she's kind of her sponsor, I guess we'll call it.
Yeah.
At the GR, and she takes her out, hands her an axe, and Meg's like, oh, you want me to chop down the tree? It's a stinky little axe, so she's just sort of standing there wailing at it, and she's getting tired, and she's cold because obviously it's snow, and she gets frustrated. And it's kind of about her breaking her down, because we see her tell her to surrender, not verbally, obviously. She writes down surrender. You have to give up. And eventually Meg gets pissed and she's like, this is stupid, I don't want to do this, and she just says okay. But Patty sort of chastises her, again, on paper, for being too easy on her.
This is really cultish behaviour.
Oh, it's super
cult. You take them out and you give them a physical challenge, but that's also in the cult, so it's a physical draining thing. But obviously, they're weak, so you're breaking them and hitting them emotionally at the same time. It's just easy, just breaking them down, so that then you can do what you want with them. Yeah,
and we see that every night Laurie comes in, and that's every time you lift a little mug.
I'm sorry.
She comes in and she takes something that she owns away from her, from her suitcase that she brought with her clothes. She takes something, and she even mentions that the cardigan she's giving her is something that her mother owned. It was something that her mother gave to her, something like that.
Yeah, that's why she's saving it for last.
Yeah, and so the idea is that every night they come in and take something, that they're slowly chipping away at your identity. Which is kind of, because even Meg questions the metaphor of the tree. It's like, is this tree meant to represent me, kind of thing, and how it's been really stubborn right now like me, and I'm not fully surrendering to this way. And obviously the whole idea of giving part of herself over every night is that eventually, when they join the GR, they kind of forgive up whoever they were. They don't forget, because obviously I think what ultimately convinces Meg to... Where's my... Damn cat. The cat's scratching his ear behind the monitor and it's shaking the camera. But I think the reason why she convinces her is because Meg accuses her. Do you even remember like everyone you cared about? Do you remember that life? And that's when Laurie sort of admits, "Oh, you met my husband today," and she points to the the business card that you left. Ah, there you go, there you go. You figured out a system.
I have.
Um,
It was too hot to do that before.
but in she sort of, I think for the first time she sees Laurie as a sort of other, as like a fellow human that she can actually relate to.
Yeah, like, it's just, there's a person there. It's not just
Yeah.
someone breaking her.
Yeah, because up until this point, she is almost this robot who's just telling her what to do constantly and making these demands and whatnot. But once she understands that, oh, you did have a life before this, and you were like me, you had these things, you had people, and you have given that up, so maybe I can give that up. Because Patty thinks she's left in the morning, she comes in and like tells Laurie how she's left, but we actually see that no, she's went back out to the tree to finish the job. Which again, one of the criticisms we had of the first episode is that the metaphors can be a bit heavy-handed, at least so far. And I would say this one is because it's her finally like breaking through her own thick skin, if you
Yeah.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It works because obviously the whole part at the start when we were talking about with Kevin was like, oh, she was on the fence, and this is the moment where no, she's not on the fence anymore.
yeah, yeah. Yes, exactly. She's made the choice. She's now part of the GR. So. No, so that was the Laurie Meg plot. I guess we'll go into the kids. We'll tackle Jill. So Jill and Amy are out for coffee, and they see the preacher. You know, Christopher Eccleston's character. They see him briefly. Again, it's just briefly. Just he's in this world, but we'll get to him soon.
He's still handing out his leaflets.
Yeah, it's episode 4. I think it's his episode that if I remember correctly, just from way back when. Because I remember hearing a lot about episode 4 being the big turning point in the show.
Right.
But I think it's episode 4. But anyway, so they're out for coffee, and they see Nora, Carrie Coon's character, who, you know, from the first episode, she lost her entire family, her husband and her kids. And as they're walking past, Jill accidentally sort of knocks her bag, her purse over, and she gets a glimpse of what's inside of it as she gives it back. There's a gun. There's a big Colt Python looking thing in her bag. As she puts it, it's not a little lady gun. It's a proper.
It's a proper gun.
It's a proper man stopper, if you will. That said, a lady gun would also stop anyone, but it's just, you know, I just think of it as stopping power. Like,
Yeah, I think that's the more amusing idea of it, isn't it? Though, like just to go around with what she's using it for, a small thing would do. But but she's actively chosen to get this bigger gun.
Yeah, she's chosen this, again, manly, beastly thing that makes you feel all masculine, because and not that she wants to feel masculine per se, but she's going for the grandiose. She's going for the big, like, threatening gun. I mean, all guns are threatening, sure, but there's a difference.
There's still levels.
Yeah. If someone pulls a rocket launcher on me, I'm going to be more scared than I was for the handgun.
I mean, unless they're 2 feet away, and I'm going to go, you ain't going to use that.
Oh, sure. All right, but if it's a shotgun, for example. Yeah, just because it's bigger, it's a bit more intimidating, even though it's going to kill me all the same.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, she made that choice, and the scene kind of revolves around them just talking about her. They're questioning the gun, and one of the interesting things I thought is because Amy speculates, oh, maybe she puts the gun in her head every night, and I was getting flashes of Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon with like the suicide kind of like maybe committing suicide every night. And maybe that is it, I don't know. But one of the other things she said that I thought was a really interesting idea is she said, what if she actually killed her family and just covered it up? And I thought, you know what? Anyone on that day could have murdered someone and gotten away with it.
Someone definitely did.
Because think about it. Once it happened, even, okay, technically speaking, they could still look for a body and not find it. But so many people disappeared that day that they wouldn't have time to search for everyone.
Yeah, they'll just make the assumption.
Yeah, so you could totally have gotten away with murder that day.
I think that sets up a big idea as well, though. Like, what about missing people in general? Like, you know, like all the missing persons cases that police look into. How many of those do they go, they might have just vanished?
That's a good point, yeah. They could have almost wiped their missing person cases clean. Because even though they did go missing before the vanishing, if you will, they could have vanished.
Some of them will have vanished. You know, we know it was only 2%, but in this town, seems like it's a higher ratio than that.
No, that's a very interesting point. The only flaw in the plan to kill someone is they know that everyone vanished at the exact same second. So if anyone saw the person who was killed later that day, that would throw a wrench into the whole charade. But I thought it was an interesting point. So
no, I did as well. I hope I don't know if it will ever come up, but if one of the other seasons was, that was one of the plots.
So they get this crazy idea. So Nora leaves the coffee shop.
She does
After,
something really weird, doesn't she?
well, I'd just say the word after. I was getting to that. I was getting
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
that.
I don't understand speaking. I thought you'd forgotten it.
No. She does this thing where she intentionally knocks over her cup or mug onto the
Yeah,
floor and it
she
smashes.
just knocks it off the table.
Yeah, and one of the employees for the coffee shop runs over and is like, "Hey, what happened?" And then he notices it's her. Like she's kind of like famous in the town because she lost everyone, and largely perhaps because she was at that rally last episode. The Heroes Day celebration. She was on a mic in front of the whole town, so naturally a lot of people would recognize her. She was the person who lost her entire family. She was the unlucky one, as it were.
Yeah.
And as soon as he realizes who it is, he turns, and I mean, people smash cups sometimes. It wouldn't be that big a deal. But he immediately turns to this apology. Oh, it's fine, Miss.
Yeah, it's like, do you want another one?
Yeah, and she just smiles and takes it and says, "No, I need to go anyway." But she does it, but she did it to see what would happen.
Yeah, it's like she's testing everyone, isn't it? It's like, what can I get away with?
Yeah, and this piques the interest of the girls who sort of run out and kind of follow her. And Nora, because they question that she's about to like do something like confront like Eccleston's character, but instead she hugs him. Like they seem close.
They do.
Yeah, and then she gets in her car, and the girls get this crazy idea that they want to follow her and see if she's going to do anything else crazy, because she keeps she's done a few things now that feel a little erratic. So they grab the twins, the guys she had in the first episode, and basically hijack their car because they get shifted to the back seat and Amy starts driving. But
Quite badly.
They pursue her to a house where Nora gets out and she goes inside, and the kids stay out in the car, and they eventually like sneak it because Amy wants hand cream and the guys don't have hand cream, so she sneaks into her car.
As they say, I'm a man. Why the hell would I have hand cream?
And I don't have hand cream.
No.
That's not something I'd have on me.
It's a truthful line.
There's no reason why a man can't have hand cream. They're
just but odds are they probably don't.
Yeah, it's not something I think about or carry around. We find out what Nora's job is, and it's a really interesting job. Actually, she works for an insurance company that deals with deals with the sort of the basically anyone who vanished that day. Their families are viable for compensation of some kind. There's like something was set up where anyone who lost someone can receive kind of almost like a bonus will, I guess.
Which I think is quite interesting because it's not like if you had life insurance. One of the things that's typically not covered in any sort of insurance is act of God.
But that's oddly kind of is an act. I mean, as best as you can explain it in this world.
In any sort of legal contract where you have act of God as a clause, which is quite common, this would certainly come under that. They would not have to pay out for this.
I guess this is one of those things though where maybe most of the people who did die didn't have life insurance or wills because a lot of them would have been younger. Like typically on average, like someone who's in their 20s probably doesn't have that stuff sorted out because they're not expecting to die anytime soon.
No, that's true.
So the person in this case was 34, which again I completely buy. He didn't have, especially given what we find out about his illness. Yeah. I buy that he probably didn't have anything like major sorted out. So basically, to get this compensation, they have to answer a bunch of questions, and she has to do this. It's like people would write down wrong things, so everything has to be verbal. It's recorded on camera, and she sits and she asks these questions, and it's 150 questions, and she warns them that some of these are quite weird. I sent you them in advance so you could look over them, and obviously the parents are, because his parents who have lost their son, they're quite upset, and they're let's just do this. And she starts asking these questions, and the first couple are kind of normal-ish questions, and they're fine. And then it's like, to your knowledge, has he ever been to Brazil? And it's like, okay, that's a weird question.
Yeah, it's like, oh, they're trying to see connections.
Yeah, possibly. And then she asks something else, and did he speak more than one language, for example? I think it was the one that kind of broke them. And that's when the mother comes out with, our son had Down syndrome. And it's like, oh my god, almost all of these questions are going to be completely ridiculous to ask. And the very next one she says is, to your knowledge, did he have more than 20 sexual partners? I'm willing to bet money that the man with Down syndrome did not have a lot of sexual partners.
Probably not. And that's uncomfortable to ask any parent, though.
Oh, yeah, it's uncomfortable, but I think it's doubly uncomfortable because she knows even before she asks it, this is a
Yeah.
stupid question. The answer is obvious, but she needs to get them on camera saying it. And I think that's the beauty of having her tell her what his condition was before that question. Is that
Yeah.
as soon as she says it, it ends in that awkward silence for us, and it plays really well. And I think it's interesting from her character perspective as well, because kind of like how we said with the Kevin scene where he's sympathetic to the fiance when he's like trying to like talk to him. She's like maybe the one of the few people who completely can like sympathize. The idea that she can come in and ask these, like, the idea that she even took this job where she's like,
I almost wonder if it's a volunteer thing that she's doing.
oh, it feels volunteer. If it feels like, if not volunteer, she applied for this job because for some reason she maybe helping other people who have lost someone helps her feel better, or
Yeah.
kind of thing, or I don't know, or maybe she's even just curious if there's connections to things and she gets to hear all that.
Yeah, maybe she just wants answers and wants to do her own research.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, but I mean, I think it's interesting that someone who you would think someone who did lose so many people on this day would want nothing to do with this process, would want even like to
Yeah.
think about it. But no, she's at the front line of it. She's asking all the questions, and I think it says a lot about her character and how she maybe is coping, or perhaps even not choosing not to cope and kind of ignoring what her own
Yeah,
feelings are.
she's not moving on. She's kind of perpetually stuck in it by
Yeah.
constantly living on that day, by talking about it for a job. You know, every day she has to go out and do this. She's got no chance to move on, I mean, I know that would be a hard thing to do anyway, but she's got even no chance to even try and move on if she's constantly talking about it. It's constantly on her mind. There is no chance in the working day to get away from it.
Yeah, and I even like the small touches after all this happens, and the girls are back on their own. When Amy was getting the hand cream, she stole like a bag of sweets, bag of candy.
Jelly beans.
It was jelly beans, and
Yeah.
she was eating them, and she's like, "Oh, these are a bit stale." And Jill quite rightly points out they were probably for her kids, which means they're 3 years old.
Yeah, yeah,
And I thought, oh, that was a nice touch. It was this moment of realization as she's eating them that I stole dead kids' candies, like.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Not dead, but
dead's speculation.
gone.
Good as.
Sure.
I mean, they may be quite happy wherever they are, but as far from our perspective, they're gone.
I really hope the final episode is just everyone coming back and going, "What the hell have you done?"
Maybe they'll just jumped in time. Maybe for them there's been no thing. They'll just appear where they were 3 years ago, as if nothing's happened. And like, obviously everyone else has moved, and they're like, "Oh, where's other people?" And they go home and find out that their wives remarried, and
Yeah.
so on. Their kids they've grown up, and I mean, depending on what age they were when they left, but like, maybe
Yeah.
maybe they're in high school now and they weren't before, or
Yeah,
so
I think it'd be really interesting just to like for them to go, what happened to the world after we left? What have affected all this have? How much society has changed?
Oh, because that's what Gary Busey's thinking when he appears in the future.
Maybe not Gary Busey.
Does a pope come back and then get angry that there's another pope, and he has to have a battle to the death to determine
Oh, man.
who gets to stay pope?
I want to see a Pope off.
So that was basically the Jill plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're done
Which,
with that.
which was kind of equally the Nora plot. Kind of like how Meg was kind of more or Laurie was more
Laurie
the
and
Meg
Meg,
plot.
yeah.
This was kind of equally or more so the Nora plot. But no, so that was that. So that of course leaves Tom.
Yes, he's completely off on his own world at the minute.
He has, he's separate because he's not even in the town. He's away with his own thing. Obviously related to him in the opening scene actually,
Yeah.
with the was it the FBI, CIA?
Some sort of government organisation. Yeah.
I didn't quite catch.
It was one of the agencies.
Yeah, I didn't quite catch what government body it was, but one of those, and I was actually really simple. I liked about this scene. It's basically it was kind of exposition on Wayne, and it was the one FBI lady or CIA lady, whatever, the one
Pick
agent.
one and go with it. Yeah.
Yeah, the agent, the female agent, was basically running down who this guy is, and he mentions that he has a thing for Asian girls, and that in some cases they're underage, because she mentions, oh, he was wanted for statutory rape in like several cases.
Yeah.
And so it brings it up, and it says that it's a cult-like thing, that it's college kids that are typically with them. Some of them have guns. They don't seem to have bombs or anything like that, but they do have armed guards. And she basically runs down the kind of...
Yeah, she mentions there's some semi-pros there as well, so it's they've hired in some
Yeah.
people maybe.
Yeah, and obviously the big thing is she says, oh, like congressmen and stuff go to him because they believe he gives magical hugs. That his hugs cure them of pain and some such. And the guy just kind of chuckles and goes, magical hugs. Do I really... And obviously the scene ends with him saying, alright, let's go and get him, and that leads into the shootout. But what I really like about this scene is the guys, the male agent, who the superior, I assume, because he's the one sort of approving the mission, he's eating an apple throughout the scene. And I thought that he's just casually eating an apple like it's nothing, and then he throws it in the trash. And I thought this was a really... Because we're talking a lot about religion, and we're talking about God and all that, and I'm just... This idea that... The idea that... Because the apple, of course, the tree, and, like, forbidden fruit.
Yeah.
And,
Knowledge and wisdom is the apple.
yeah, and all that. And I was just... This idea, like, is part of the reason why whatever happened. Not that we're ever going to explain it, but... The idea that he can just have an apple whenever he wants, and it's nothing, and he can just throw half of it away because he doesn't even care. Just thinking about what an apple means, and in the story of Eden and all that, like, is that part of it? Like, is just it's the gluttony and stealing what you want when you can have it, and that this is the world that's left behind. If the rest of all went to Eden, I guess.
Yeah, no. Like I said, lots of religious imagery, and should mention we mentioned Kevin's back tattoos last episode. Went back and checked. He did have them before the event.
Yeah, he had it in the flashback. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's good. That's a good thing to point out. So yeah, so these armed, agents storm the compound, and they're shooting some people on sight. They're not even.
Yeah.
They're not even
it's just going down.
Yeah, they're not even looking for cause to shoot. They are opening fire on people. And basically, Christine, who of course is the important girl, as Wayne puts it, is held up at gunpoint, and the guy gets shot. The agent gets shot, and it's Tom. Tom has just killed someone to defend her and runs off with her. And they go on the run, and eventually Wayne shows up out the back of a car.
Nice pre-organised rendezvous point.
Yeah, exactly. He makes him snap his phone and all that. In fact, it was a great moment actually just before Wayne shows up, where Tom's about to call his dad. He's like, you know what, I might be in too deep here. I might need dad's help.
But just as he goes to, he shows up.
Yeah. And I kind of... What I like about this plot is that you can kind of see the absolute frustration on Tom the entire time, because he has to watch Christine kiss Wayne. And because when Wayne rolls up, before they realise it's Wayne, she's holding his hand because she's scared. She's sort of hiding behind him. But then as soon as he gets out the car, she lets go of him and immediately runs and jumps on top of Wayne. Like, it's one of those big sort of jumping hugs. And... kisses him, and I love you, and I think I love you comes later, but like all these moments, and Tom has to watch, and it's like he gave, he went to Wayne because he felt like this was a cause, and it's really another cult. Like the GR and Wayne are both just different types of cult, really. As much as Laurie insists that it's not a cult, but
she can say what she wants.
But he has to watch this, and it's almost like we said last, like he's finally found maybe like more of a cause for himself in Christine because he likes her, but he's feeling all this jealousy. If you even want to call that, maybe jealousy's not the right word, but I think it probably is.
I mean, I think it is. Yeah, he did like her, and he was establishing this relationship, and then it's partly, he was told he can't have it, so there's the just the envy of that, like it's forbidden fruit. To go back to that.
Forbidden fruit, yeah, for working with that metaphor.
And then obviously there is he just has to watch this other man have what he wants.
Do you know what I think is interesting as well? Because obviously Wayne says to him, "She can't come with me; it's too dangerous. You're taking her." And he gives him money and says, "Never stay in one place too long." He snaps his phone, gives him like a sort of burner thing. I'll call you on this. You need the charger though, because I lost mine, kind of thing. Which again, if we're going metaphors here, it's almost the phone's kind of like her in this weird way, where he's like, "Oh, here's the phone, but you're going to have to, like, like do it yourself," kind of thing.
Yeah. I was also thinking the charger is kind of all right. So you plug it in, like that's the tether, and that's kind of it's kind of waiting going. Hey, I've lost my tether. I'm a bit on the mad side myself.
Yeah, I can see that. Do you think Wayne's testing him? Because he's saying, "Oh, it's too dangerous for her to come with me," but it almost feels like he's keeping them together alone as like the ultimate test. Like, is he loyal enough to hold
Seems
back?
elaborate for a test, but I'm not going to rule it out because
Well, I don't necessarily mean that he's orchestrated everything to
no,
test
but
them.
even
Yeah.
this, it seems like the raid was undoubtedly real.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we saw that because we saw that from the other side. That was not orchestrated
I,
by
I,
Wayne.
I think everything's real. The only part is, it's too dangerous to come with me. She's going with you instead. I think that's the only part that might be a specific
Right. No,
test.
no, I agree. But my problem is if he is at the point where he thinks he needs testing, so he's unsure about him, would he really send off his prized possession? So with him, would he really trust it in case he's wrong?
Well, I mean, the only word we have to go on that she actually is important is his.
That's true. That's a fair point. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, she probably is important because there was that moment after Wayne leaves and they get in the car and Tom just breaks down and starts screaming and smashing onto the dashboard and Christine's like, "It's okay," and he's like, "How do you know that?" Because Wayne said so. And it's almost like when she says that, like it's almost like a knife in the chest because it's this double gut punch of
Yeah.
he doesn't really necessarily believe that anymore. He thought he did, and maybe he's having doubts. But on top of that, she's backing him up because she actually loves Wayne. It's this the jealousy knife
She
twisting.
is completely indoctrinated in all of this.
Oh yeah, she's brainwashed. She's
Yeah.
totally and utterly brainwashed. Yeah, and why is she important? I don't know, but maybe we'll find
Sure, we'll
out.
find out. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, that was it. Was there anything else we wanted to
No, I think that was
talk
all of
about?
it.
Just in case I glossed over something you thought was
Oh,
worth
then we've
mentioning.
lost over anything. I mean, we spent 5 minutes on eating snow.
I may or may not edit that chunk down, just in case you get to that statement and think they didn't spend that much time in the feet in the snow. I might have went back with some scissors and made it more bearable, just in case. I'll look at it and see if it's annoying to listen to that part of the conversation because it might be. It might be.
I went on a bit.
But here we are. So that is episode 2 Life. And kind of surprisingly, we've went just about as long as we did in the first episode.
Yeah, we expected not to.
We expected not to, but maybe that's a good sign. Maybe it's a sign that each episode is going to give us enough to talk about.
I do think as well part of that it's something we've learnt with other shows when you have such separate plots. You know, when you're going bit by bit, we tend to take longer because we have to talk about each thing separately. When they're kind of intertwined, I think we spend less because it's all in one bit. But here, because we're going through each family member, that naturally takes a bit longer.
That is episode 2. Thank you very much for watching. Let us know what you thought of the episode in the comments below. Like, subscribe, all that stuff. Get us on Patreon at patreon.com/MailFuzzTV if you want to get some bonuses and see some other stuff that we can do. $1, of course, gets you episodes of these leftovers reviews a week early. So that's fun if you enjoy these. So there's that. Get us on Twitter at mail_fuzz for channel updates. Individual Twitters are on the screen. That is us. So thank you very much once again for watching. We'll see you next time.